السلام عليكم. Okay, guys, let's get started with this rainy day. Very beautiful weather, very nice. Anyway, we'll first of all, what we'll do today, we'll try to solve assignment 3. I hope you all submitted your assignment. I will mark them, inshallah, maybe next week. I'll try to mark them, inshallah, next week. I'm just very busy this week, but inshallah, I'll mark them early next week. And soon as well, you'll be set with the last assignment number 4 as well. Anyway, so let's get started. But before I solve the assignment, now just I have a comment on last session we had on the face-to-face. I made a mistake when I said that if you remember the array that we had an example on to find the minimum and the maximum, and we had a for loop. Okay, that said the range of the array, and I called it, I think, A array or something like that. Okay, so I had for. Now the bit that comes after, which belongs to this if, to this for, I said it's for. Okay, and it was for something bigger than or larger than the length. Okay. Now this I just made a mistake, to be honest. It should be if. Okay, I programmed it to be if, but I wrote it as for, because again, it can't be for. For is for the range. Okay, for is from here to there. It's like a range. While if, it's a decision. So this was a decision we had to take. This was a decision. So unlike I said last time, what's going to happen is that we had the numbers. It was 10, 11, something like that, and 120 eventually. Okay, so the first time is going to check, and if you remember, we started before we had the for. We started at array 0. If you remember that. Okay, we set the A array to be 0. So basically, and then we said I here, I equals 1. Okay, so we started iterating from index 1, so from here, meaning that the index 0, meaning that we already know the value of 10. Okay, so we booked the first element in the index. Okay, so because we have this now, we're going to start iterating from the next index, which is index 1, this number here, and then we're going to do the comparison. Sorry, this wasn't here. Sorry, I mean here. We started iterating from 1. Here was if I think something like that. I is greater than the length. So basically, now index 0, which is 10, we compare it using the if statement. We compare it. Is it greater than 11? Obviously, it's not. Okay, so 11 now is the greater. So we hold 11. Now, if it was just an if we didn't have the for, this would be the answer, and we cannot go to the rest unless we use else, if. Okay, so we would have our answer. But now this if is actually part of the loop. So we found the match, right? We found 11 is greater than 10. But we can't stop here, because the if statement will, with the for loop will continue. It will move to the next element. Now the next element was here. I can't remember what it was, and let's say it was 5. Now 5 is less than 11, so it will be ignored. So we still have 11 until we reach 120. 120 is greater than 11. Then eventually we have 120 as the maximum value. And obviously, with the minimum is the same, but with the minimum we have the less than. Is this understood? Is this clear now? Yeah, okay, I hope so. Again, so I do apologize. Sometimes I I write on the board things that it's not actually, it's not, I plan something and then I write something else on the board, but never mind. So I'm glad that this is being clarified now. So that's it. So I'm sure if you already tried the program, you would have tried if instead, and it worked for you. For those who have not yet programmed the task or the example, I suggest you program it to get, to understand better, but this time use if, don't use the actual for. So you have a for loop, yeah, and then you have a decision to do with if and not for again. Okay, so let's move on to the assignment. And the assignment was purely programming, and similar with the assignment 4 will also come purely programming. Assignment 4 will also be programming. So for assignment 3, I think we had 4 questions. Okay. Now, question. I'll give you 30 seconds. Just open the assignments in front of you if you haven't already done so, so you can follow. Okay. So because I'm not gonna write the assignment. I'm just gonna say what the assignment was, and I'm gonna start straight with the solution, so we don't waste time. So I'll give you 30 seconds just to open your assignment 3, so you can follow. Okay. Okay, good. So now we'll do that. So question 1, as far as I remember, I did the question myself. Question 1. Question 1, it says write a Java program to list odd numbers between 1 to any user given input numbers, and okay, typical. Okay, yeah. So question 1 was saying that allow user, so we have a scanner because it's saying ask the user to input value. Okay, so when the user inputs the value, and let's say inputs 10 according to the assignment, then the program should list all the numbers from 1 to 10 that are odd numbers. Okay, so it will print 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It's actually easy. This is easy. There's so many ways to do it, but I think I'll try to give you the shortest path. Now, obviously, because it's a user input, okay, I'm gonna try to write neat. Okay, because user input, so we use import Java .util .star. Okay, if you want to, or you can use a scanner. So it's up to you. So both works. Whether you use a star or use a scanner, they both work. And then we open our class and call it public class, and let's call it odd. Okay, and then obviously our main message, so public static void main string args to the end, and then now we're gonna set the maximum user input. Okay, so we're gonna set the upper limit, the number that the user gonna input as a maximum number. Okay, so obviously it's integer. Okay, and let's call it something meaningful. We'll call it upper limit. Upper limit. Okay, so now we set our limit. So then we'll do the scanner. So let's say scanner and call it input number. Input number equals new scanner. I'm going to continue at the bottom because I don't have space. System dot in for input. Okay, system.in. So this is now our. So now we established a connection between the scanner and the input, or between this class and the input.java.util. So now we can have a user input. Now we're gonna set the we're gonna allow here to have user input. So we're gonna make it as the upper limit. So we're gonna say upper limit, which is our variable that we created. Upper limit now equals, obviously, to allow the user input. So we say, well, actually, before this, we should. Okay, just let me make a new page because we don't have space. Before we actually set the user input, let's have a message, right? Because we always said when you allow user input, you need to have a message for the user. So yeah, exactly, prompt. So again, because the user may not know what to do. Okay, so you need to let the user know. So we can say system.out.print line, and we can say enter, for example, enter a number or your upper number or something, or enter a number or upper number, whatever you want to say, and then you leave a space for the user to enter the number. So leave him space. Okay. So yeah, that's your space. Now you allow the user input, and you don't have to use line here. Don't use line. So when the user inputs a value, it comes here. Okay, so don't use a line. And then you're gonna say, for example, upper limit equals, we called it input. Okay, we called it input number, I believe. Yep, because input number dot next line. Okay, input number dot next integer. Sorry, not next line. Dot integer, and then we do this. Okay, so now we are allowing the user to input the value. So now we sorted this part out. Okay, we've done this. So now, okay, the user can input, but obviously we haven't finished yet because we need to work out the odd numbers. So now we are allowing user input, but we haven't finished. So you can have another, let's say, another message, say system.out.print line. You can have another message. You can say, for example, odd numbers. So to give a user the options, odd numbers between one and okay, you can finish this plus upper number, right? Because we're gonna say or we call it upper limit, okay? Plus upper limit. So to say that, okay, then the numbers, sorry, the odd numbers from 1 to the user input, to the number that was entered by the user, and we called it upper limit. So we say upper limit plus upper limit plus, you can say, okay, R, or plus R. Okay, so just like for organization, it looks organized this way, right? So now this is another prompt or another message for the user to let him know what we're doing. Now, what do you think we need to use for searching for the odd number? What do you use? Yeah, well done. You all know, mashallah, for loop, yeah? So you're going to say for, we're starting at 1, so let's say int I, we're starting at 1. And 1 will go up to where? Up to equal the upper limit, right? So we say I, it should be less than and equal to, or less than or equal to the upper limit. The upper limit and I plus plus. I plus plus, and then we close the bracket. Now we do the business here. So let's open the bracket. So we're gonna use if now. Okay, decision. This if belongs to the for loop. So we say if. This is here the tricky. What do you think? How do you think we're gonna work out the odd number? Now the for is to iterate until we reach to the upper limit. Okay, what do you think? Yeah, well done. Yeah, well done, Saad. Yeah, mashallah, you all know. Yeah. Now we need to make sure that I, if we divide it by 2, the remainder, okay, we should not have any remainder. Remainder should be 0. Okay, we should have no remainder. Meaning, now if we divide 4 by 2, okay, do we have any remainder? If we divide 4 by 2, do we have any remainder? No. Okay, so we don't have remainder. So this does not apply to if. Okay, so this is the idea, is because see this is a mathematical this is like a logic. Now you're thinking this is outside Java, let's say, you know, here the syntax is easier, but you're thinking logic now. Okay, how do I actually find an odd number? Think about it. The even number is actually is divisible by 2, and it will not leave any remainder. So this is the characteristic of an even number. An even number, this is mathematical, let's say mathematical logic. Any even number can actually be divided by 2 without leaving a remainder. So we can use this characteristic, right, to find the odd numbers. Okay, this is just equal to find the odd numbers, right? Okay, so if this happens, if I can be divided by 2 without any remainder, we can say, okay, then system dot out dot print line, okay, dot print, or just print, so we don't have print line, so we have it on the same line. System dot print line, print I plus, okay, meaning that print all the odd numbers for me on the same line. Okay, that's it. Easy. Okay, excellent. Now let's say the question 2. Question 2. What was question 2? Just a second. Question 2. Yeah. Write a Java program to read an integer, then compute its factorial using for loop. Don't accept numbers greater than 50. Okay. If the entered number is larger than 50, then print to user your factorial will be very large. Choose a small. Okay, well done. Interesting, yeah. Okay, so you're supposed to find the factorial, and you know what the factorial is. You know, you've studied discrete mathematics, and I think it's in your discrete mathematics. So if the user enters a number less than 50, let's say 5, then it will give the user the factorial. Otherwise, if the user enters a larger number, then it will tell him that this, you know, this is a large number or something like that, and please choose a smaller number. So that's good. So okay, again, different ways of doing this, but let's try to find let's try to work out an easier option for you. And the easier option now, okay, so let me think. You have, okay, well, we'll start one by one. So we'll start with the user input. So okay, let's open a new page. Question 2. Again, user input. So import dot Java dot util, or import Java, not dot Java, import Java without dot, import Java dot util dot scanner or star. Okay, and we have our semicolon. Now let's open the class, and we call public class. Call it factorial if you want to. Okay. Then again, public static voidment. So this is our main method. Okay, you don't have to go through it. And then we're gonna have obviously the user will have to input a number, so we'll call it a number. Okay, so this is for the user to you know, love for the user, and let's have int. Now don't forget we have factorial, so we need int fact as well for the factorial. And what do you think the initial value for this will be? Yeah, 1. Well done. 1. Okay, because that's the least factorial. So you can start at 1. So yeah, int factorial is 1. And then we will have the user input. So we'll say scanner. Call it input equals new scanner to the rest, new scanner dot dot in, sorry, system dot in. So we say new scanner system dot in. You know this, and then let's have a user again, a user message, a message for the user. Okay, so yeah, exactly. There's no factorial for this. Actually, 1. Factorial of 0. So yeah, so we're starting at 1 anyway. So system.out.println, we give a message for the user to you know, prompt to enter the number. So say something like to find. You can say to find something like to find the factorial. To find the factorial, enter a number. Okay, we say enter a number. Enter a number, but tell the user from the beginning, so the user doesn't enter numbers over 50 as we said. So just give him a message, say like enter a number less than 50. So you're telling the user from the beginning not to do that. Okay, and obviously finish, and then you finish your sentence. Now we have some questions here. There is no 0. Okay, event factorial shouldn't be long instead of. Okay, yeah. Okay, right. So we have our user prompt. So now I'm gonna open a new page. Okay, so we're gonna have the user input. So we're gonna say number. The actual number equals input dot next integer input dot next integer. Okay, so this is to allow the user input. Now, okay, what do you think we should do? Yes, well done. Now we're going to test Okay, we're gonna test now. Just sorry, is this a question, Saad? Factorial shouldn't be long instead of int. I don't understand this, Saad. If this is a question. I don't understand, Saad. If you want to rephrase your question, maybe. Okay. So yeah, as we said, if because here we are testing the user input. Is it less than 50 or equal to 50? So because we are testing the user input, so we need to use if statement as a decision. So we say if the number entered by the user is less than or equal to 50, then do the following. Okay, so now we're gonna have our method for the if. Now, obviously, we're gonna have to scan for the user. I'll say because second here we have questions because after 34 we got zeros. Because after 34, yeah, that's the thing. After 34 because zeros. It's a large number it comes after 50, not after 34. After 30, after 50. Okay, I think it means we should change it to long type. Right. Okay. Try the code I'm writing. Okay. Try what I'm writing, and hopefully it should work. Okay. Okay. I haven't looked at your assignments yet. I haven't or your answers. Okay, I haven't actually looked at those, but just follow what I'm writing. Follow what I'm writing, and then hopefully it will work fine. I hope. Okay, so then yeah, after the if, so we created if. Now we need to go through. We're gonna have to do scan for the range that we have for the number. So we're gonna say. So we obviously because I said 4, so 4. Okay, 4 for int. You're gonna have value this time. Let's say x instead of I. We can. Okay. Where should we go from? Do you think what's the initial value for this for 2? Yes, at 2. Why 2? Why 2? Yes. Okay. Yes, because it's factorial 1. We're starting at factorial 1. Okay. So obviously we can't start at we can't start as initial value 1. Okay. And we already set our factorial to be initial value for that is actually 1. So we're actually starting at 2 as initial value because we want to continue. Okay. So we're starting at 2 here. Right. Okay. 2. Again, this is mathematical logic. Okay, so there's nothing to do with Java. This is logic, which is why Java is very important, not just to understand the code, to understand the logic behind what you are doing. Okay, so good. So we say then we're starting at 2, and then we're going to go up all the way to the user input. Okay, whatever the value the user entered, and then we're going to increment the x. Okay. So after finishing the 4, we haven't finished. I mean, after creating more 4, we're gonna have for what? Okay, so we're gonna have the actual method. Okay, so we're gonna say that fact. Yeah, well, Nasad. Okay, mashallah, you're all on top of the ball. That's good. Okay, fact equals fact times fact times the value of said x. So yeah, x. Okay, because again, factorial, you're gonna multiply it to get by x to get all the factorial, all the range of the factorials. Okay, so if this 4 is correct, then multiply the fact by the value of x every time, right? And then, so we finish, this is our for loop, and then print a message, let's say. Okay, print a message for the user, say system.out.println, something like, I don't know, factorial is something like that. Factorial is, okay, plus fact. Okay, something like that, plus fact. Yeah, plus fact, something like that. Okay. So this will print the value of the factorials one by one. Now, okay, so this is our this was our if. Or actually, obviously, sorry. We'll have this actually. We'll have this the system of the print line within the for, because this will you know, it will iterate and print all the values for that. Okay. Now we haven't quite finished. One last step. Now, although you said to the user, do not enter a value that is larger than 50, but you never know. The user may enter the user may not read what you've said. So the user may actually enter a value that is larger than 50. So yeah, as Anna said, yeah, this time you need to have else. Okay, so else. Okay, so just in case the user entered the value that is greater than 50, because the user can do that. So you can say system.out.println, give him another message saying that you know, give him a message saying like something, you know, your value is large, whatever. So enter another value that is less. Okay, so you give him an option in that. Okay. Easy, this one? Okay, good. Now let's have a look. Let me see question 3. Question 3, yeah. Okay. Question 3. Write a program that reads from width and height in a rectangle. Then draw a field. Okay. Oh, good. So. Yeah, okay, this is good. The question is asking you to draw a rectangle using stars. Okay, using stars. So whatever the user inputs, the user will input the width and height, and then you will actually draw this rectangle by using stars. Okay, interesting question. So let's see. Okay, let's try to work this out. Again, it's not that difficult. Okay, right. Again, because the user input. Let me open a new page. Okay, yeah. Because there's a user input, again you do import. Okay. Because user input, you do import, and then you open your class called rectangle if you want, and then open your main. So public static main, public static void main string out. Okay, we open that. And then we do all works again. So we need a scanner, because the scanner, so say scanner, I call it in this time for easiness. Scanner in equals new scanner. System.in, okay, system.in, you do. Right, so now we've established a connection. Now again, a message, system.out.println. Enter height and width if you want to. Enter height and width. Enter height and width. So excuse my my writing. Sometimes I just want to write quickly, but I am reading. I am actually reading as I'm writing. So you know, if you have to come back to this recording, you know what I'm writing because I'm actually spelling this out. So enter height and width, and then obviously you're going to have a colon, and then leave a space and close your statement. System.out.println and close it. Then you will need to define the height and width. So say the int height and int width. Okay, so now you set your variables, enter the height, and actually, yeah, you can continue by allowing user input. So it doesn't have to define user input again. Okay, so say in, okay, dot next integer. Yeah. So you don't have to do. You can do it just in height and in width, and then allow user input. But why do you have to have extra lines? So just we can do it now. So to avoid having extra lines, okay, in width equals in dot next integer again. So to cut the coding short. Okay, let's open a new page to continue. Now, what's the other variable that we need? So we define the variable height, we define the variable width. There's another element. The stars, right? The stars are also variables. So we're going to say they are string. They are string. You can use them as string, and call it star. Okay, call it string star equals, just give it initial value of 0. So just define the because we don't know how many stars. We're just defining this variable. We don't know how many stars we're going to use. Now, then, because we're going to be iterating to draw the stars, we're going to use for, right? Starting, we'll call it I, starting where? Where do we start? 1. Well done, because we can't start at 0 here, because if we start at 0, meaning that we don't have a star. So now we need to start at 1 to have a star at least to begin with. Okay, to begin at star 1, and this will end to the height. So now we're drawing the height. So this will end to the height I++. Okay, so this will end to the height. So inside this, we can have an nested for, okay, because they're working together. Okay, we can have another for, this time for the width. We can have to use another variable called j. The j will also start at 1, and j will finish at the width and call it j++ for increment. Then okay, so you've set the values, but now you need to draw. So you can say star, which is your string or your stars, star equals star plus what? Plus a star. Why? Because here you've set a place for a string, right? But you haven't mentioned what string, what the string is. Now here you're mentioning, you're saying, okay, then the place I reserved here, the place I reserved for a string, fill it with a star. Do you understand this? Yeah? Okay? We're saying now the place that we reserved, fill it with a star. Now we just need to jump a new line within the star. So we're going to say star. We're going to jump a new line because when this, we need to draw a square. So we say star plus, what did we say the jump line? Do you remember? Yeah, well done. Okay, backslash n, meaning that, okay, we're gonna, after we draw a first line of a star, we're gonna jump to the next line and so on until we finish the for loop. Right. After finishing the nested for, we can have we just need to give an order to the system, okay, that print the star for us. You need to give an order, and that's it. Okay, this easy. See, sometimes when you look at it, you may think it's complicated, but actually it's not that complicated. When you think about it, again, remember I told you last time, you need to follow. You need to follow the program. Just follow it. Right, now let's move to the last question. Oops, sorry, I opened the wrong application. Just a second. Okay, question 4. Write a program that keep reading integer numbers from user, again user input, until if it is even or odd. Okay, using while loop. So this time they've asked, you see, now surely you can program this in many ways, but the question specified that you need to use while loop. So in the exam, if you see instructions, clear instructions, you need to stick to them. Otherwise, even if you do it another way, and even if it's right, you will not get the mark. Right? You need to stick to the question. So here, it's actually specifically asking you to use a while loop. The loop must stop if the user enters any letters rather than a number. Excellent. So now the user will input a number. The program will tell if the number is odd or even. Now the program will stop if the user enters any letter. The program will stop. Now, okay, how to do this? Let's open the new page. Okay. Again, we know we have a user input, so we're gonna do import. Okay, and whatever the import is, or obviously it's gonna be Java, scanner, and then open your class called class odd even. Always choose meaningful names, and then public static void main string args, and then we start. Right, we're gonna have a number. Let's call it. This is just one bracket. Okay, let's call it a num or a number. Oh, sorry, int number. This is for the user to input. Int number. This is any number that the user will actually input, right? And we can give it a value. Okay, we can do it in many ways. If I give it a value, yeah, I'll give it a value of 1. Okay, so we start at 1. Yeah, we start at 1. If you want to consider that 0 cannot be odd or even, okay, so we need to start at 1. So we give initial value to number as 1, because we started from 1, and then we're gonna test if the number is even or odd. Now, allow user scanner, call it again in equals new scanner system.in. Okay, so this is our scanner, and then we can use okay, again, after scanner, always I keep forgetting, always have a message. Okay, sometimes I forget. Okay, always have a message to the user. So let's say enter a number, for example, whatever. Okay, and then we can have the while this time. I'm gonna open a new page. While now while what? While in well done has next. Now I don't think I explained has next in the class, but certainly it's in your syllabus, in your slides. Has next mean check for the next integer. Okay, what's next? Because you take a number, okay, and then okay, you take a number, check for the next. Okay, so int has next, and we have previous to compare with the previous number. Okay, we have the previous as well, but for this one we need has next. So we can say in for the user input has next. Okay, so check for the next one. Has next, and this is just this is bracket, okay, and then this is the bigger bracket, and then okay, sorry, and then sorry, we don't even need the user semicolon. So two brackets and bracket. So we have our we set our while condition, okay, and then we're gonna say number. Number equals in, which is the user input, next integer. So this is where the user gonna next integer. So this is where the user gonna enter the value. Okay, and then now we can have again same idea. We need to test whether the number is odd or even, and I told you the trick mathematically. We can have a if statement. I told you mathematically you can check by number. Okay, you can check by using the modulus, right? And check if the number has a remainder. So if this number, okay, if it's divided by 2, if the remainder equals 0, okay, sorry, again without this. If the remainder equals 0, it means that it's an even number, right? So you can print a message for the user saying, okay, then you can say even number. Okay, and this is a message for the user. Okay, this is a message for the user. Else, okay, meaning otherwise, right? You can say system.out.println odd number. Okay, if you want to. We finished our while. Now, whatever happened after this, right? We can say system.out.println. Let's say program ended. Meaning that if the user enters anything else rather than a number, anything else, now you can say we can print a message saying like program ended, whatever the user inputs. Is this clear? I think it was very interesting assignment. It's not difficult. Again, not straight easy, not difficult. It mainly based on logic, thinking. You need to think in this assignment. Okay? Has anyone got any question? So let me take the register. Just let me save the register. It's week 12 and we're from 4 to 5. Okay guys, if you have any questions then please do email me and I'll see you inshallah next week. Assalamu alaikum.